PDEs, um, many very deep results in electric PDEs, for example, and then he has, for example, also in the recent years done rigorous work in hyperbolic conservation laws with discontinuous flux. This is the subject that arises in, for example, in flow through porous media. These are all very difficult problems, and this time he is going to talk about control of conservation laws.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. First, let me thank Utpal and Sheetal for arranging such a nice conference. Really, it is really, when she asked me to give a talk, she asked me to give a talk for 1 hour talk. I immediately agreed. Then afterwards she asked me to give a set of preliminary lectures. For that also I agreed, but I saw the list of speakers and the topics. I had wanted to learn all those things. I don't know anything about stochastics, Navier-Stokes, etc. So I decided to attend the entire conference. It is really illuminating, really very nice. And of course, behind for everything, it is Srisaran is there. We got good people. Okay. So what I am going to talk about is the conservation laws, controllability in conservation law. So let me first start with the title of the talk is the exact less optimal controllability in conservation law. So this is the title of the talk. So what is a conservation law? Conservation law, I'll just say it. I mean, I'm not going to spend more time on that. It is basically Euler's equations. When the viscosity is 0, you'll get the system of equations which can be put in a conservative form. And you would like to ask the same question. You might have heard so many things about Navier-Stokes equation, controllability, the Navier-Stokes equation, etc. But in all these things, you have the term nu. The viscosity is there. When viscosity is equal to 0, what happens to the controllability? This is the question I wanted to tackle. This is a very hard question. So even in generality, I cannot say anything about it. So let me concentrate in one-dimensional case. So a conservation law by definition is a equation of the form d by dx of f of u equal to 0 in one space dimension for a positive. Look at this equation. I would like to solve this equation u of x0 is equal to u naught of x, where I am assuming that u naught is equal to L into log of r, locally finite function. So for example, if you take f of u is equal to u, you will get a transport equation, and f of u is equal to u square by 2, you will get a Burgers equation. This is a one-dimensional Euler's equation. Okay, this is it. So this equation, both the cases have been studied extensively from last so many years, maybe some 60, 70 years, thoroughly investigated. Okay. Now, before going to state my controllability problem, first let me state the controllability. So what is an exact controllability? First let me state the exact controllability. So exact controllability is that, so I have got I'm given an initial condition u naught of x. There are several ways, several controllability problems. So let me state one by one. So you are given this is a t-axis, let us put it. So you are given the initial data here. This is a t. Initial data is given. So I am given, for example, I am given a u naught and L infinity function on the entire plane, entire line. U naught is given here. U naught is given here. You don't know what is u naught here. It is not given. Nothing is given. So at time t, you are given another interval CD and a target function, say k of x. This is my target function. The question is that, can you find a data u naught bar? This is the one which is in L infinity. Says that if you evolve this, now you take this is called this u naught tilde. So you take this as the initial data u naught and you evolve according to this law. At time t, can you reach this function k of x? So this is the exact controllability. The question is, so given u naught tilde belongs to L infinity of this, I call this interval I complement okay, and secondly, and given this one, and k is given in some I2, say I1 and I2, k is given to be L infinity of I2, this is also given. Question, does there exist U naught bar belongs to L infinity of I1 such that the solution corresponding to this, such that U naught is called this way, U naught tilde in I1 complement or U naught bar in I1. So, question is, does there exist such that U of x is the solution corresponding to this initial value problem hits the target k of x for x belongs to I. So, this is the controllability question in this situation. There are two ways you can look at it. There are two things. So, I have given two intervals, interval AB and interval CD, and my target function k of x is given, and my initial data U naught tilde is given. I would like to find this. Now, interchange it. Now, instead of this, I will put this is the first problem. Now, the second problem is I will interchange it. U naught is given here, U naught tilde is given here, given. Now, can you find U naught bar outside the interval? Outside the interval, so that this problem is solvable. These two are two different problems. Okay, so it is a, I'll just state it as it is, I'll keep it as it is. This is a one sort of a controllability problem. So there another thing, now you can go for the boundary controllability. What is the boundary controllability? Again, you are given, now we are in the Hopf space, now it is R plus, you look at it, I want to evolve my equation in here with the initial condition U naught is given and the time t is given, time t and an interval 0 a is given. The question is, a target function k of x is given at the time 0 to a, at time t between 0 and a, this is given. Question is, can you find a boundary control B so that with the boundary value problem, namely ut, write it as f of ux equal to 0, in this here u of x0 is equal to u naught of x, this is given. Now question, find B so that the boundary value u of 0t is equal to bt in the interval 0t, you solve this problem, then can you reach this at time t, the solution hits this target function, this is the question. So this is boundary controllability, and also you can do this one. There is one more thing, this single boundary, we can look at the double boundary, b1 and b2, and you are given the target function k of x, okay. Now your initial value is given, can you hit this? This is the boundary controllability. Okay, these are the three problems which I wanted to talk about. This is the exact controllability. Now, what is optimal controllability? Optimal controllability, let me go back to this initial value problem. So, you are given that AB, CD. So, again, let us go back to this equation. U naught tilde is given, U naught tilde is given, and my target function k of x is given. Now, take a no, this is not given. My target function is given, and now you take u naught defined on the entire real line, this one. Look at the solution u of xt for the conservation law. Now, look at the mean square. K of how close u of x comma t, the solution to this is my cost function g of u naught. Given the initial data u naught, I am going to define my cost function g of u naught is equal to kx into u of xt whole square. So, minimize g of u naught for all u naught. So, this is the optimal control problem. Now, the question is whether these problems are solvable or not. Okay. Now, I am going to restrict myself to the case where this is not there. Okay. I am going to take this my flux, it is f is called the flux, is highly nonlinear, super linear growth. So, if it is linear growth, these problems you cannot have solutions, but let me restrict with the highly nonlinear. So, for your assume that f of u is equal to u square by 2. Okay. So, these are the problems I would like to talk about. So, before going to the main result, let me recollect what is known in the conservation law. So, it is a recollection. now first of all, you multiply it by S infinity function with compact support, or P is S in belongs to C10 function with compact support, and integrate by parts. Assume that the solution exists. What do you get? You will get an integral equation minus into plus infinity, 0 to infinity, u phi t plus f of u phi x dx dt plus integral minus infinity plus infinity u naught of x phi of x0 dx. This is just by integration by parts. If u is a solution, by multiplying by this and integrating by parts, that is what mathematicians do. So in PDE, so you will get a solution. This you will get an identity. This holds for all phi belongs to C10. So I am going to see. Okay, now I am going to make a following statement. In general, however smooth the initial data is, you don't get a solution, smooth solution. You have jumps coming to picture. So that means you have to allow the concept of a solution in a weak sense. So therefore, what is the weakest one is that I am going to take is that I am going to say that U is a weak solution for this problem, provided weak solution, this is the concept of definition, weak solution, provided U naught is, U is a function U is an L infinity log, is called a weak solution if this holds for every test function phi. This is called the concept of weak solution. Okay. So why do you need this? First, let us derive some important consequence of this weak solution, and then we will come back to this. I will give some examples to show that the smooth solution does not exist. Okay, this is called Rankine-Hughes condition. What it says is that assume that U is a weak solution. Assume that U is a weak solution. So we are in the domain 0t. Look at the some domain omega. Suppose this domain omega is divided into two parts, omega plus and omega minus, by a smooth curve x is equal to x of t. This is the curve gamma. Okay, and assume that my U is a function in the L infinity log. Satisfies that U is smooth here. Smooth means C1. U is C1 here in omega plus and omega minus separately, and satisfies the equation f ut plus f of ux equal to 0. Here I can talk about this because it is a smooth function equal to 0. Furthermore, I am going to assume that for any point P here, the left limit I call u minus of P, the right limit I call this be u plus of P. This exists. These are the conditions, hypothesis I am making it. Now the question is that you take such a function. I know that in this region u is the solution, in this region u is the solution. I want to make this u to be a solution in the entire region. So that means in the weak sense, what is the condition you impose on the surface gamma, on the surface gamma? So the condition is called the Rankine-Hughes condition. It says that U is a weak solution if and only if it satisfies the following Rankine-Hughes condition. Take U of P plus, I call this P, okay, U plus of P minus U minus of P, and take the derivative of dx by dt, the tangent at that point P. At point P, this must satisfy f of U plus at P minus f of U minus at P. This is called the jump condition of Rankine-Hughes due to Rankine-Hughes, right? And it says that U is a weak solution if and only if it must satisfy the jump condition. This is the first consequence of the weak solution. Let us first understand what are the consequences of this without solving this problem. Forget how we are going to solve it. First get the information and use that information to solve this problem. This is the first information we got it. Okay. Second information. Look at the equation. Okay, you transform this capital X is equal to alpha of x, capital T is equal to alpha t, where alpha is a positive term, and V of x tau is equal to U of x, change of variables. Then you can easily say that if U is a solution to the problem, then V is also a solution to this problem for any alpha. That means x by tau is equal to x by t, because you call this xi. Therefore, it is invariant under this transformation. Therefore, you look for a solution which is purely a function of xi. So this is called a self-similar solution. So let me look at U is equal to some g of U of xt is equal to g of x by t, and substitute here. You will get that g prime of xi minus, no, let us this is equal to g of xi. what do you get? Just let us substitute. It is very easy to do that. Yeah, ut g prime. Yeah, just substitute here. I'm not going for just the solution. Then you will get that u of xt turns out to be equal to f prime inverse of x by t. Now here I am going to make one assumption. What is my assumption? A priori f is okay. Assume that I don't know what f is. Now I am assuming that f is a differential function, and f prime is a monotone function. Therefore, f prime inverse exists. So all these hypotheses are satisfied if f of u is equal to u square by 2, or f is a strictly convex function, C1 convex function. So this turns out to be a solution to this equation. This is called a self-similar solution. Like in the case of the heat equation, you will get the Gaussian, which is a self-similar solution, which plays an important role in constructing the entire family of solutions. Here also, this plays a very important role in constructing the solution for the conservation law. This is called a self-similar solution. Now it is basically is known as the literature rarefaction wave. Okay, these are the two important ingredients you come across in the case of the conservation law. So let us try to build up a solution for this problem. How are you going to build up a solution to this problem? It is very difficult. So like in, if you want to study the system of real numbers, what you do? You look for the approximations, that is the rational numbers. If you look for properties of the function, you look for an approximation, that is what you will get, polynomials. That is Weierstrass's famous theorem which I spoke in the beginning. Now here also we do the same thing. If I want to look for a solution to this problem, I must look for a simple functions where I can construct the solution by hand and then try to pass to the limit. So what are the simple functions which you have to look for? So you have to discretize this into smaller problems. What are the smaller problems? This goes back to Riemann. They are called the Riemann problem. So let me define what is meant by Riemann problem. So Riemann problem. So Riemann problem is nothing but the data, the u naught of x takes just two values. U naught of x takes just two values. A if x is less than 0, B if x is positive. So I would like to, so I am assuming that f is convex, f is C2, this is assumption, f is strictly convex. Say if you don't like these things, I take f of u is equal to u square by 2. It satisfies all the properties. So the function is like this. This is my function. So first, how do you solve this by, normally how do you solve this equation? You solve this by a method of characteristics. So what you do, you write it as du by dt. Assume that u is a smooth function. Assume that u is a function. Then I can write it as f prime of u into du by dx. I can differentiate it. This is equal to 0. Assume that solution exists. So you look for the characteristic. This you have already, this is what you call controls, controlled characteristics, etc. In the Hamilton-Jacobi you have heard quite a lot. Unfortunately, they didn't relate this to the Hamilton-Jacobi equation which I am going to state, but let me give this one. This is the first, so you will write it as f of u xt. Solve this, I don't know what is u. Solve this starting from the point x at 0 is equal to x naught. So starting from the point 2, I will get a curve x of t. Now take this function u, evaluate onto this one and differentiate it. Therefore, I am looking at d by dt of u of xt is nothing but du by dt plus du by dx into dx by dt. This is precisely equal to du by dt plus du by dx is there, but dx by dt is given by f of u. Sorry, this f prime u. Du by dx. I know that u is a solution. This is equal to 0. A priori, I don't know anything about this curve, but this information gives that u is constant along the characteristic. This is called the characteristic. U is constant along the characteristic. Therefore, u at any point, u of xtt is same thing as u at 0. U at 0, x naught 0, which is equal to u naught of x naught. Once I substitute here, then this problem on the characteristic, you will get f prime of u naught of x naught. And therefore, the solution turns out to be x of t is a straight line, t times f prime of u naught of x naught plus x. So this is the characteristic. Okay, and I need these things. Okay, let me. Okay. Oh, so now let us try to solve the Riemann problem. I need this Riemann problem. How do you solve it? First case, assume that a is equal to b. This is a constant case. So A, so how do you solve it? I use a method of characteristics. So given any point x naught, I draw the characteristics. What is these are the characteristics, that is, I know that characteristics are given by t times f prime of u naught of x naught plus x naught. So I am taking here at any point x naught, I will take this t times f prime of u naught of x naught plus plus x naught. I know that u naught of x naught is equal to constant. Therefore, t times f prime of a plus x naught. This is independent of, I know everything, and u is constant along this. That means u at this point is something u at this point, but u at this point is equal to a. Therefore, u is identically equal to a is a solution to this problem. For a constant data, I can solve it using a method of characteristics. Very good. Now let us go to a little bit complicated. Now take the Riemann problem where a is different from b. Second one, a is different from b. What happens? When a is different from b, for the sake of, there are two cases. There are two cases. Two cases. A is less than b, and 2, a is greater than b. Okay, there are two cases. So let us think. There are two cases, A, B. I mean, to make life simple, let's take this one, A, B. No, let us put it A, B. Another case, A is equal to B. A is less than B. Okay, I'll write it. I'll take this case. Why I'm going to say A is greater than B. A is here. B is here. Here I don't care. Okay. Let us take the case A is equal to 1. So in the case 1, A is equal to less than B. Let us draw the C. So I know this 0. This is A. This is B. Now I'll write the, like as though I'm constant data. I'll write down the characteristics. So what is the slope? I know that f prime of A is negative because observe that I have taken the point here, and f prime of B is positive. F prime of B is positive. Therefore, I'll get the characteristics goes like this. And here the slope of these characteristics are x naught plus t times f prime of B, x naught plus t times f prime of B. So if I use the method of characteristics, what I get a solution u is identically equal to A here, u is identically equal to B here, and I get a big region here which is empty. I don't know how to fill it up. This is the first case. The second case, let us look at it. Second case is A is greater than B. What happens? The characteristics here, x is equal to f prime of A. Now in this case, f prime of A is positive, f prime of B is negative. The left side characteristics are like this. This is 0, and the right side characteristics are like this. This is so this is equal to x is equal to f prime of AT. This is f prime of BT. This is f prime of BT. This is f prime of. That means I know that the value at this point is the same thing as value at this point, because you use constant along the characteristic. You value at this point is same thing as value at this point. It gets a multivaluedness. So in order to avoid this multivaluedness, now you invoke this Rankine-Hugman condition, which says that I'm going to, this is my artificial way of constructing it. I'll come back to this a little bit later. I'll construct a curve, x is equal to xt, so that to the left of it, I'm defining u is identically equal to A. To the right of it, I'll define u is identically equal to B. These are all two solutions. I know that the left value and the right value exist. I determine this curve according to this rule. Once I determine this curve, then I'll get a straight line, some straight line with the slope as this one, f of b minus f of A by b minus A. Then to the left of it, I'll get A, to the right of it is B. Now the solution is not continuous. It has a jump discontinuity across the line. This is called the shock. Okay. Now how are you going to fill up this one? Now I have got a very nice solution, that is rarefaction. I am going to put this rarefaction here. So I am going to define a solution u is equal to A, u is equal to B, and here I will put it as f prime inverse of x by t. Okay. I have got solution here, solution here, solution here, 3 regions. Now again apply the Rankine-Hugman condition across this and across this to conclude that this is the solution to the problem. So I will get a solution I constructed. But I can also consider, my way of filling the gap is, it is by choice. Why should I take this one? I can fill up in many ways. There is another solution I can fill it up. The solution which I am going to fill is that u is equal to A here, u is equal to B here. This is also a solution because I know that f of A is equal to f of B. I have chosen that the heights are the same. F A is equal to F B, heights are the same. Therefore, this is also a solution because of RH condition. I have defined like that. The slope of this line is 0. Fa minus Fb is equal, f of b is equal to 0. Therefore, it satisfies the Rankine-Hughes condition. Therefore, this is also a solution. Now, which is the right solution? This is gone by some physical phenomena. So, you need a unique solution, but I am exhibiting two solutions. So, there is a way to select it. That is called the entropy coming from the thermodynamics. I am not going to. The mathematical entropy precisely says that whenever there is a shock, the left speed must be equal to right speed. Left value must be equal to right value. This is the left value. This is the right value. I want this condition. U minus is greater than U plus. Then you say that it is an entropy condition. For example, here it is not. It is violated because U minus is equal to A, U plus is equal to B. But I know that A is less than B. So it is violated. Therefore, this is not a solution, whereas this is a solution. Such a solutions are called entropy solutions. So now I will come back to this. Here I have not yet defined what is meant by a solution. Here I am taking a solution means an entropy solution. Okay, it is due to Lax and Voleniuk for the convex case and Khrushchev in arbitrary case. So I am going to take a entropy solutions for which I would like to solve the control problem. Okay, good. Okay, let me. I will need a few more concepts before going to the exact statement of the control problem. It is what I am going to talk about. What is known as the Lax Voleniuk formula. Okay, let me go back to this is the first step. Now I will go to the Lax Voleniuk formula. This is exactly the Hamilton-Jacobi which I have studied from last 10 days or so thoroughly. So what is the Lax Voleniuk? I would like to solve this equation. So this is a highly, as I said, that it is highly irregular, the solution is irregular. You make it smooth. There are many ways of smoothing it out. One of the ways of smoothing it out, if u0 is an elementary function, when you integrate it, you will get a continuous function. So you smooth it out. So define, let v of x, so v of xt is equal to integral from say 0 to x, u of x theta d theta, and v0 of x is equal to initial value 0 to x, u0 of theta d theta. So I am just one way of regularizing it. So then you can easily see that, not, I'll skip it. Okay, look at the, this is look at this following equation, Hamilton-Jacobi equation, Hamilton dv by dt plus dv by dx, the whole square equal to 0, and v of x0 equal to v0 of x. What is this? I am taking now my derivative in the interior. So what else? No, I made a mistake. I have written it for the Burgers equation, dv by dx equal to 0, and this one. So what I have done is that instead of looking the derivative at the outside, I will push the derivative in the inside. The problem becomes different. This becomes a Hamilton-Jacobi equation. Now this one, I will just write it. This is a, how are you going to solve such an equation? This is easy to solve it. This is by the linearization. What I mean by linearization, it is non-standard linearization. This I can write it as, because f is convex, I can use the duality, what is supremum of all controls p, so that p dv by dx minus f star of p, this is f star is the convex conjugate, is equal to 0. I can write it in this in the Hamilton-Jacobi-Bellman equations. Once I do this, I can have the cost function, write down the cost function, that is the solution to this problem which you have already studied. So this is how the Bellman, so what is the cost function? The cost function turns out to be equal to v of x is equal to infimum of all y belongs to R, this is a control set, v naught of y plus t times f star of x minus y by t. Because of convexity, the also non-smooth curves can be reduced to the linear curves. So this is a curve is starting from the point y, this is a curve starting from the point y, it goes in the direction of, the slope is in the direction of x minus y by t. X and t are given. xt is given, look at this. So this is a, okay, now we invoke the famous result due to half say that V is actually a solution of this Hamilton-Jacobi, solution of Hamilton-Jacobi. In what sense? In the sense of viscosity, which you already know. Hamilton-Jacobi, this V is a unique viscosity solution for the Hamilton-Jacobi equation. And furthermore, V is actually a Lipschitz continuous function. Therefore, I can differentiate it. Therefore, I can differentiate the dV by dt because, sorry, dV by dx. I can differentiate it. And then U turns out to be the solution for the conservation law. So, this is the connection between Hamilton-Jacobi and the conservation law. It works only in the dimension 1, not in higher dimensions. So, what is the advantage of this? Because advantage of this is that I can explicitly write down how the solution looks like. So, how do you do that? So, let us look at it. I have got the character. This is the point. Take any point xt. Look at all the minimizers of this. In fact, it's the minima. Okay, here I am going to assume that f is a superlinear growth. Fp by p tends to infinity as mod p tends to infinity. It is not a linear case. It is not the linear case. It is a superlinear case. I am assuming it. So, using that, I can replace infimum by minimum because this is also of superlinear growth. So, what happens is that you can show that given any point xt, so look at all lines, all the minimizers, it can have many minimizers. Okay, these are all the minimizers for this one. These are all the minimizers here. There exists one minimizer, I call this y minus of xt to the extreme left and the y plus of xt to the extreme right. Okay, so it just takes all minimizers, takes the minimum of these minimizers and the maximum of the minimizers. You call this, they are called the extreme minimizers or extreme points. Then you can show that this theorem again, this is due to Lax and Olenek. Now I am going to state the Lax-Olenek. Says that, okay, first one is that I am assuming that f is strictly convex. This is very important. Like in the Burgers equation, if f is strictly convex, the first condition is that consequence is that x going to fixed t plus y plus or minus xt, they are monotone functions. They are non-decreasing functions. First one. Second one, y plus of xt equal to y minus of xt almost everywhere. That is for almost every point of x at the time t, these two minimizers coincide. That is the second one. And you call this to be equal to the y of xt, a common value. This is defined almost everywhere. Then another thing is that you take two characteristics. So take two characteristics, x1t, x2t. Suppose this is one minimizer for x1t, I call this y1. The another minimizer for x2t is equal to y2, I call it. Where does y2 lies? Either y2 lies here or y2 is equal to y1 or y2 is equal to here. The claim is that if this will not happen, the two characteristics cannot intersect. That is the basic ingredient in the strict, using the strict convexity, you will get this information. From that, you show that this is monotone functions. Now, the third one is that for for each fixed t, for almost every x belongs to R, the solution f prime of u of xt is given by x minus y of xt by d. This is called Hoflach's formula. Okay. Okay. What is I have started with the Riemann problem. I started with Hamilton-Jacobi equation, then a solution to this problem. So I have solved this solution. I have solved this problem. Now, what is the relation between this and the controllability? This is where I am going to. I need this. Okay. Okay. Now let me come back to the controllability. Let us start with just problem 1, controllability problem. Formulation. Exact. So what is the? Let us recall the definition. A and B is an interval. I am given a function u0 tilde outside the interval AB. I am given a time t, I give another interval, say CD, another interval, and I am given a function k of x defined on the interval CD. What is the controllability? I would like to find u0 bar, so that if you denote u0 is equal to u0 tilde for x does not belong to AB, this is find. u0 bar if x belongs to AB, find u naught bar, such that now evolve this until now u of x is the solution to this problem, my conservation law with this as the data. Now the question is that if u of x is a solution, question is that at time t, whether u of xt is equal to k of given k of x in the interval CD. In the interval, this is the controllability problem. So how are you going to tackle this? Okay, so you cannot do this. I mean, because Hofflach's formula, there is already a constraint. What is the constraint? Suppose you have a solution. Suppose you have got a u naught bar satisfying this property. That means u of xt is given by equal to k of x. But I already know that by Hofflach's formula, u of xt satisfies f prime of u of x comma t satisfies x minus y of x comma t by t. This is by Hofflach formula. If at all, and I want this to be equal to f prime of kx, because u of x is equal to f prime of kx. Therefore, if at all this problem has a solution, then k of x, you cannot k of x arbitrary. K of x must be of this form only. That is, k of x must be given by a monotone function, x minus monotone function by t. This is a necessary condition without which you cannot solve it. So let us put that as a condition. So condition on k. This is called admissible target function. So what is that? There exists a non-decreasing function rho. How does it k? How does y of x behaves? Y of x given any xt, x here, x comma t, y of x is nothing but the extreme points of the Hamilton-Jacobi equation. Therefore, y of x is somewhere here. It must lie in y of x comma t. And this is a monotone function. Therefore, there exists a function rho, which is a mapping from CD to AB, such that 1, rho is a non-decreasing function. 2, the function k, the target function must satisfy the compatibility condition of Lax and Olenek must be given by rho of x by t. So this is the problem which you can pose. Okay. Now question is converse. This is what I am looking at. Converse. Given a admissible function, admissible target function, now can I find a u naught bar such that I can reach this by k of x. Okay. So how do you do this? So normally, if you have seen all the control theory, this thing, there are basically the few points are there. One is if it is a linear problem, no problem. Of course, you can have this one. If it is a non-linear problem, so like Navier-Stokes, etc., you already start with a trajectory. You always start with a known solution, and then you linearize it. Once you linearize it, you will come back to the linear problem. Once you have the linear problem, you take the adjoint, and then you solve it, and then blah 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 blah. What are the observability criteria and everything, and you prove it. So this is the standard technique which is used. But it is highly nonlinear. Linearization technique will not work, and adjointness, what is meant by adjointness here? What is, first of all, what is the stationary solution you are looking for, and what is the adjoint problem? There are a whole lot of questions exist here. Okay. Therefore, this we are going to solve it in a completely different way. Okay. That is the method of characteristics. Okay. So this problem, first of all, I am going to show that this problem in general, even this criteria, it has no solution. I'll give one simple example. I think I can address it. So let us first start with a counter example. So counter example. So this is what is counter example is that you start with the null controllability. That is what you start with. Let us start with the null controllability. What is the null controllability? I am assuming that, for example, my target function, my flux is equal to f prime of 0 is equal to 0. Just that is u, so f of u is equal to u square by 2, just for the sake of this. So null controllability. Null controllability means I want my target function to be equal to kx is equal to 0. Okay, that is a null control. Suppose kx is identically equal to 0. This implies that f prime of kx equal to 0. Because f prime, I am assuming that f prime of 0 is equal to. Now, what is the criteria? Let us go back to this criteria. This implies that 0 is equal to x minus rho x by t. This implies that rho x is equal to x. It is identically. So I am assuming that AB is equal to. I am assuming for the timing this one. A, B, C, D. Okay, I am assuming this. Rho x is equal to x for all x belongs to A, B. So, null controllability is equivalent to saying that my monotone function must be an identity. Rho x is equal to x. So, once I get rho x of x is equal to x, what happens? All the characteristics are straight lines. This rho x is, suppose this problem admits a solution. Suppose this problem admits a solution. That is, suppose there exists a u naught bar, so that f of u naught bar is equal to, so that u of xt is equal to 0 for x belongs to AB. Assume this. All these things I am assuming it. So that means there exists a u naught bar. I would like to find out what is u naught bar is. Since all the characteristics, since rho of x is equal to x, rho of x is nothing but the points on the Hamilton-Jacobi equation, the minimizers of Hamilton-Jacobi equations. Therefore, they are all straight lines. They are all, because rho x is equal to straight lines. And you know that along the characteristics u is constant. These are all the characteristics. If this is 0, therefore this must be equal to 0. Therefore, my u naught bar is identically equal to 0. So if at all the null controllability has a solution, my u naught bar must be equal to 0. Once it is 0, now I am going to change. U naught tilde is my choice. So I am going to choose u naught tilde is equal to some a and b. Say let us take -1 and 1, -1 and 0. Let us take this. So therefore, my data becomes now, if you look at it, if you look at my data, this is A, this is B, this is not minus 1, I'll take it 1. This is 1, 0, 0. So that is, I am assuming that for example, A is equal to 0. Okay. So that means my data becomes, to the left of 0 it is 1, to the right of 0 is 0. So I am boils down to my Riemann problem. Once it is a Riemann problem, I am going to solve it. Because I know that f prime of 1 is positive, I get a shock. 1 is greater than 0, I get a shock. This is 1 and 0. Okay. 0, B. So that means the value at this point is, at the time t, value in this region is equal to 1, but I want that to be equal to 0. So you cannot reach the null controllability. Null controllability is not possible. Therefore, you need an extra assumption in order to solve this problem. So I am going to put this extra assumption. So what is the extra assumption which I am going to put is the following thing. So CD, they need not be same intervals, just I am given that u naught, I am given that u naught. I am going to, there exist intervals, however small, big they are, however close to AB, but I need this intervals AB, such that now I got the mapping rho is mapping from CD to AB, this is what I am assuming. So it is the range of this is equal to AB, that is what I started with. But I am going to show, this is an extra assumption, the range of CD is in A1 and B1. The range of CD is equal to A1 and B1, which is contained in open interval. This is an extra assumption if you put it, then the exact controllability problem has a solution. Okay. So theorem. So this is joint work with Gowda and no, he was a student of Gowda, but we worked together. Very good. I'll tell you, he did a beautiful ideas he came up. I'm going to tell you what that idea is.
Shock doesn't develop during that time.
Huh?
Time period, shock doesn't develop.
Which time?
The time span.
0 to t.
Yeah.
It can develop. Of course, it can develop. It can develop shocks, but shock merges, etc. Finally, it reaches. That is where the backward construction. I'm going to tell you that. So that is a beautiful idea to show. Okay, fantastic. This is something completely new from the point of view of all other analysis.
Yeah. A1 and B1, you had two Riemann problems to start, so they are starting with shocks. Yeah.
Exactly. All the shocks. That's where I need A1 and B1. All the shocks merge, and finally I'll get the target function. I'll show you that. It is very simple. I am going to show you that. Okay, this is the one which is called the backward construction. There are two. Okay, let me state the theorem, and I'll sketch the proof where it is. The theorem is that under the assumptions 1 and 2, there exists a u naught bar belongs to elementary of AB, says that at the time u of x is equal to K of x for all x belongs to CD. So exact controllability is solvable. Okay. So what is the method of proof? Again, as I told you, right, the method, all the linearization and adjointness, everything fails here. Okay. Okay, this is the problem proposed by Coran way back, few years back, and he said that nothing is known in the Euler's equation, even in the Burgers equation. Okay, so this is the one I'm going to do. So how are you going to solve this problem? It has got I can have much time? 10 minutes or 15 minutes? Okay, good. I have some time. There are two techniques are involved. Okay, the techniques I'm going to define. One is free region lemma. I'll tell you one by one. Second one is backward construction. Okay. So first of all, I would like to make one remark. You know that most of the systems are not reversible. Heat equation is not reversible. Even this conservation law is also not reversible. If I take Kx and if I come back, I don't get an entropy solution. This is true for only entropy solutions. Okay. So therefore, backward construction. I have given a K. How do you get back? So that is where the backward construction. This is really the basic idea has come from Sham. It is a really original idea. Okay. Let me start with it. So first, let me start with the free region lemma. What is the free region lemma? So I can erase it here. So again, I am going to talk about the Riemann problem. Everything by hand construction. Okay. So Riemann problem. Riemann problem sort consider only the two values. Now I take the Riemann problem consider three values. What happens? Let us see this. So the three value Riemann problem. I am given what is this? Let me write down. My data earlier two values. Now I will consider A, B interval. I will get A here, lambda here, and some m here. Lambda and m are constants. Okay, my data consists of less than a, it is small a, between a and b it is lambda, b after b it is m. These are all real numbers with the condition that lambda is greater than very large number and also lambda is greater than equal to large number. Let me a and m, maximum of a and m. Okay, maximum of a and m. Let us look at how the Riemann, how we can construct the solution by hand. Everything by hand, you can see what is happening. It is not that no estimates are there. So let us use the technique of what? By the technique, what are the techniques we use? One is this the Rankine-Huygens condition, another is rarefaction waves. So we take these two solutions in hand, try to build up a solution. And of course entropy, this is very important. Entropy is the left speed must be greater than right speed along the shock. So I would like to build up a solution. So let us take first at A and lambda. I know that lambda is greater than A. Whenever the left speed is greater than the right speed, I get a shock. So what is that shock? I get a shock. No, sorry, I made a mistake. It is, I get a rarefaction. How does the rarefaction goes? This is equal to, this is a plus t times f prime of A. Take this is line, and look at the rarefactions going from here to here. These are the rarefactions. F prime inverse of x by t. This is the solution. I take u is identically equal to A to the left of this line. U is equal to x prime inverse of x by t up to where x is equal to A plus t times f prime of lambda. So rarefaction is lies between these two lines. That's how we constructed the Riemann problem. Now, so this is A and lambda. Now I'm going to put B and I'm going to put M. Now lambda is greater than M. Therefore it is a shock. I'll put it here. I'll get a shock. I'll get a line like this. This is the shock which is given by B plus f lambda minus fm by lambda minus m into t. So in this region I'll get lambda. Here u is identical to b, m. So this is my solution. What happens? Now this rarefactions at the shock merge comes and meets at this point. Once you get it, again use the Rankine condition to construct a curve so that to the left of it is the solution this, to to the right of this is equal to m by using the Rankine-Duguerre condition. So therefore, I have built up a solution in the entire region. Okay, this is the one. So what is? Let me recollect it. So let me write down. That is A, B, lambda, A, M. So I'll get. Look at this one. Look at this one. This is equal to A plus T times f prime of A. This is the one. I'll get something, and I don't care about it, but I'll get somewhere here u is equal to m. Here, that's how I'll get it. Okay. So something I'll get it. Fraction and Shaw this blah blah blah. What is important is u is identically equal to a here. This is what I get. Okay. Now this is I have done it for by hand. I can do it by for a lambda and m are constants. Now I replace this a lambda m by functions. So this is still true. It is u naught tilde. Suppose u naught tilde an elementary function. I can choose a lambda sufficiently large such that to the left of this line u is identically equal to a as a solution. This is I call this a free region lemma. Okay, this is one solution. Similarly, I can do the same thing. This okay, you need the superlinearity. Here in all these things I need the superlinearity. F of p by p must tends to infinity as not p tends to infinity. Therefore, linear case it doesn't work. And linear case you cannot control it. So I can do the same thing. I can reverse the thing. Okay, I call this be say let us a1 here a1. I call this lambda u naught tilde. I can reverse it. Okay, what is reverse? Okay, AB, A2 mu. I call this mu, and here lambda is a very large. For a very large, I'll get this one. Otherwise, all these things merge, and u naught tilde, which is in L infinity. Again, I get a free region lemma. There's something like this: B plus A2 P times f prime of A2. I'll get a so you'll get something that I'll get a solution here. U is I call this a solution U1. I get a solution here U2, where this is a free region lemma, where U is identically equal to A2. To the this region I'll get identically equal to A2. That is called the free region lemma. So free region I call this free region lemma. So this is the one what I get it. To the I get something where U is constant. Something where U is constant. I know that how in which region I'll get it. I have a clear picture of it. Okay. Now what I do? I'm going to patch it up. Okay, let me erase it. So what we have? So now let us come back to my controllability problem. Now I'll get and not yet state the backward construction. First I'll first give the solution and A1, B1, U naught tilde. I would like to find U naught bar. This is my choice. So what I do, and I'm given a time t, I get CD. I get CD. Yes. Okay. Okay. Let's put it CD. So I'm going to join this line and this line. And look at this is the slope. Look at the slope of this line. I call this is slope, and look at this equation to this straight line. Equation to this straight line A1 plus T times f prime of A1. I call this with the slope here. Okay. Here what is the equation to this straight line? B1 plus T times f prime of A2. This is the equation to this straight line. Now this is my rho is given here. My k of x is equivalent to saying that my rho is given. Rho is by Hoflach's formula, rho is given. Rho is the function which maps from CD to A1, B1. Okay. Now first let me look at this one. I'm going to define U naught tilde in the following way. Now to look at U naught tilde is equal to mu, where mu is a very large negative number. Here mu is very large negative number. I'm going to define here lambda. Lambda is very large positive number, such that this phenomena holds. Namely, mu is I made a mistake. I must interchange one with the other. Let me see. Yeah, this is fine. Yeah, this is A2. So I'm going to consider, look at my A2, U is equal to U2. That is, I'm looking at U0 tilde mu. And here A1. U0 tilde mu and A1. So I'll get a solution U1 which is identically equal to A in this region, in the entire thing. Okay, that is from here by choosing mu large. Now look at lambda. I'm taking lambda mu large negative. Now take lambda positive, large positive. I'm using this free region lemma. So that means I'll get U is equal to A2 here, U1, U2 is equal to A2 here, right, to the left of it, and something I'll get, I don't care. But we're taking the initial data U0 tilde. I'll get a solution U2 satisfies the initial data. Now in between what I'm going to do, this is where now I'm going to talk about the backward construction. So let me start with the backward construction. It is just the patching up of three solutions, okay, in different regions, and use the Rankine-Hughes condition for the patching up. Just 5 minutes. Just I'll give an illustration how the backward construction comes. So what is the backward construction? I am given, say, to make life simpler, I'll do the same thing, AB instead of C, just AB. And I am given the rho to be a monotone function from AB to AB. This is what is given, and rho is a non-decreasing function, So let us take rho is something like this. Okay. Now this is where the shocks and rarefactions come into picture. Now you discretize this. Of say call this be y0, y1. This is AB. Yn is equal to b. Similarly, you look at the corresponding points x0, x1, etc. x1, x2 is equal to x0, xn is equal to b. Look at first, this is the graph of rho. So what is the yi and yi plus 1 of length? Given any n positive, discretize the y-axis of length 1 by n and take the corresponding values x1, x, because it's a monotone function, I can always choose x1, x2, xn. So write down those things. Where does it come? I call this AB, or y0, y1, y2, say call this yi, yn minus 1, yn, x0, x1, x2, etc., xn minus 1 and xn. Now, let us take say xi and xi plus 1. Xi, let us say xi and xi plus 1. Just and here yi and yi plus 1. Because okay, now what I'm going to do is that take any xi, I join xi to yi and xi to yi plus 1 and this. Just look at this one, yi and yi plus 1 and xi plus 1, look at it. Draw these lines like this and look at, consider this, this is what? This is yi plus t times f prime of ai. Look at the slope of this line is equal to f prime of ai. This one yi plus 1 plus t times f prime of ai plus 1. This is the slope of this is equal to ai plus 1. Now, this one, what is this? This is the slope of this line. I call this to be yi plus 1 plus t times f prime of yi plus 1. Okay. Now, by monotonicity, the convexity, just use the convexity, it is very easy to show because I don't have time, I have got just 2 minutes time and just I'll give the result. What happens is that there is a relation between ai plus 1 and bi, I call this bi. This is a line, this is bi line, it is ai plus 1 line. Okay. I get bi is less than ai, also bi is less than ai plus 1. bi is less than this value as well as this value by convexity. And now I am going to draw another line whose slope is, because bi is less than ai, I can draw this is a shock. This is the slope of that is equal to f of bi minus f of ai by bi minus ai. I am going to draw a line whose slope is precisely equal to this. By the convexity, you can show that this line comes in between. Okay. So now, what I am going to do is look at it. Here, now my u naught bar is what I am interested in. I want to define my u naught bar. I am going to define u naught bar. In this region, I am going to give the value ai. U naught bar, it takes the value ai. In this region, it takes the value bi, and so on and so forth. Now, if you look at the Riemann problem, since ai is greater than bi and this is a shock, this is the solution precisely equal to ai here in this region, bi here. Now, bi is greater than, bi is less than ai plus 1. From here to here, I will get a rarefaction. Okay. So, I have constructed a solution here. Do that solution. This is called the backward construction. And the positive limit as n tends to 0 using the standard convergence results, you can show that the solution exists. And therefore, what is the property is that the solution, I'll get u naught bar, and you evolve with it. This is the ai, this is equal to say something, this is a naught, a1, call this a1, the extreme one, this is independent of this. The solution I get is u is identically equal to a naught here, u is identically equal to b naught here, okay, whatever it is, of the slopes, and I'll get a u naught bar, and it get a u naught bar, and it satisfies that the solution f prime of u of xt is precisely equal to x minus rho of x by t. It satisfies the Half-Lax formula. Okay, now finished. Now I have got a1 here, a2 here. Now for this, in this region apply, I get a u naught bar in a1 and b1, and I got, by backward construction I will get a solution u3. Satisfies that to the left of it u3 is identical to a1, to the right of this u3 is identical equal to a2. That's how the construction is it. And here it satisfies that I take the f prime of u3 of xt is equal to x minus rho x by t, which is the same thing as f prime of kx, the given function. Okay, now I am going to define my function u. My u is equal to u1 here, u3 here, and u2 here. My function is u1 here, u3 here, u2 here. These are my functions, these are elementary functions. My claim is that this is actually a solution, because in each region it is a solution, and by the construction it satisfies the Rankine-Hughes condition, because left value and the right value are the a1, here also the Rankine-Hughes condition. Therefore, the patching up is a solution, and clearly by construction it satisfies the controllability. So, this is how you solve this problem in the conservation laws. Okay. Similarly, you can do the everything for the other type of data. You can do this. So, can I take a few more minutes? Just I want to tell you about the optimal controllability. Just so this solves completely the controllability problem in the conservation law. The problem is that it is strictly convex and superlinear growth. This is very important. So now optimal controllability. Okay. Let us take AB, CD. I'm given a kx function. I would like to u naught. So there is no AB. Sorry. I get a u naught. So I would like to minimize integral f prime of u of xt minus this is minimum of g of u naught. U naught is some admissible class of functions. F prime of u of xt the whole square into f prime of kx. So assume that k has a compact support. So that this and u naught has compact support. Therefore, this integral makes sense because of finite speed propagation. Okay. Now this problem is very hard. It is first has been only one paper by Castro and Zuazua for a Burger's equation f of u is equal to u square by 2. They proved that this control problem has a solution. There exists a solution, and the question is, existence is not important. Can you capture the minimizer? That is the most important thing. How are you going to capture it? Okay. So they propose a scheme called some alternating descent method. Okay, they try to do this using the Bresson and all those things where they linearize the shocks. Okay, they try to give some scheme and verified in some spaces, some examples, but it is very ad hoc and everything is open. Now, convergence is not known whether it really converges. Even if it converges, is it a solution? Everything is open. So they just left it. Now, question is, how are you going to tackle that problem for the convergence of the minimizer? Okay. Here I am going to give a very simple criteria using the backward construction. This can be, even though, first of all, observe that this cost function is not differentiable and it is not even convex. It is neither convex and differentiable, therefore method of descent, etc. doesn't make any sense at all. They try to make it, it is of no use. So here you convert this into a linear problem and the convex linear problem. This is the beauty that follows from Hoflach's formula. So if U is a solution to the problem, I know that Hoflach's formula, I'll get f prime of u of xt is equal to x minus rho of x by t. So what you do is that you replace this by, not replace, this problem is same thing as minimum of integral f prime of k of x means x minus rho x by t minus k of x, the whole square, or the minimization, some rho belongs to some a. Okay. Now the nonlinearity becomes a linearity in rho and the minimization in rho where A turns out to be a closed convex set on a Hilbert space. So it is a standard projection, orthogonal projection, a convex set in a Hilbert space turns out to be that there exists unique rho. Once you get unique rho, now use the backward construction to get u bar so that this you will get a minimizer. So all by hand you can construct it and you can get the solution to this problem. Okay, I have taken.
For quick questions.
Now, here, first of all, where exactly you use that the range is strictly contained in the open interval? And secondly, the rho which you get, will it satisfy that?
Satisfy?
That the range is strictly contained in the open interval.
Yeah, no, here there is no open interval here. What happens is that I am taking K to be a convex set, a compact support. So my admissable functions are all functions with compact support. It is varying. So what I do, I convert this problem into a bigger convex set, sorry, a bigger interval. And the bigger interval I solve it and then show that this is actually solves this problem.
So you don't need that second condition.
I don't need that condition A and B. Sorry, that lambda mu, I'm not going to use it in the optimal control problem.
So that range is contained, that is used in putting in the lambda.
Lambda and mu, because you know the otherwise the characteristics. I gave you first example that null controllability is not possible. Okay, if you take the entire interval. So you need that lambda mu, without which is therefore it is an if and only if condition. So lambda log is by characteristic speed goes to 0, infinity or minus infinity. So that is what, that is where superlinearity is used.
How about systems?
No, let me tell you, everything is open. Even forget systems, even non-convexity. For example, we have got, what happens? Because I use heavily the Hoflach's formula. Okay, it is a very good result. Okay, I don't know how much it is, but I see only the people working in Burger's equation, let alone this.
Maybe also interesting to find connections with the Goodenough method.
Yeah, now the question is, yes.
Constructions are similar.
Unfortunately, this is not a numerical implemented construction because backward construction is not numerical.
Yeah.
Okay, you cannot discretize it. So that is one problem here. But by hand you can construct it.
Any other question? So let us thank, very exciting. Yes, we have groundbreaking work. So let us thank Professor.
Thank you very much. We will take up one of these topics and do path-breaking research.
Yeah.
It is very important. Really exciting. The entire set of lectures are very nice. And also all combinations.
Yeah, maybe Professor Balachandran. Manathan.
They have an announcement.
Maybe we will also present a memento to Protas and Saktivel said he is not a distinguished speaker.
Maybe they didn't bring him.
No, it is there. I just want.
He gave a very nice talk.
He gave a very nice talk. Okay, so Dr. Shaktivel and maybe Protas also.
Okay.
So there are a few announcements before we get into the tourism and this thing mood. That is about tomorrow's lectures. Tomorrow we will have 4 lectures, 2 by Professor Sridharan, 2 by Professor Sundar. And it will be 9 to 10:30. Professor Sridharan will take a tutorial from class or whatever you people like. And then it will be followed by Professor Sundar from 11 to 12:30. So we take a lunch break as usual. 2 to 3:30 again Professor Sridharan will take the lecture and 4 to 5:30 Professor Sundar will talk about art deviations, which is on demand lecture.